Who knows?
Yep, I'm on.
Should be good. Bring it up a little bit. Making my water.
Okay. Hey, we're live. I didn't know you pushed the button.
What? You're live. You said we were late.
Yeah. We are a little late. Let me check the sound.
Somebody showed up. We are a little late.
Okay. We got sound. I still got to check every time. We've had too many sound problems.
Who's on there?
Okay.
Let me go get my water.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We're a minute or two late here. Our camera guy forgot to set his alarm to show up on time. But here we are. Tuesday, 3:50. Welcome to the T350 show. We'll give a minute for everybody to join us. And we'll get started. So how's everybody's summer going? I think there's one person in here with us right now. Everybody's out enjoying the nice weather. It's beautiful here today. It's mid-70s, sunny. I rode the motorcycle this morning. Finally got it back. It's all fixed. Needed a new stator. I had a charging issue, and then my compensator was going bad on me, the inside the primary there. So got that all situated, and got my motorcycle back. So, waiting for my camera guy to get back. Okay, he's back. He's got his water.
Ready to go.
We got another person joined us. Yeah, just move some stuff out of the way there. That's right. So yeah, it's summer. Well, it's August already. Summer's winding down fast. Not always a bad thing though. I'm always anxious. I love summer, but I love the fall even more. The weather starts to cool a little bit, and hunting season starts to roll in. Archery's just around the corner, and I do love my archery deer hunting. If I had to give up everything else, that's one thing I would not give up is archery deer hunting. I'm going to do that until I can't draw a bow no more, and then I'll just
Get some mechanical device.
yeah. Well, then I've always got the crossbow too. So, but as long as I can climb up in a tree stand, I'll get after it. Yeah. So I got a chance to finally get to the range Sunday. Me and the wife went to we belong to the Pymatuning Sportsman's Club over in Espyville, and part of the membership there is a shooting range. They have shooting pistol 50 and 100-yard range. They have a skeet range. They have a target archery range, and and they have the club there where you can go in and eat and drink. And I don't drink anymore, but we certainly went in and got some pizza and wings and some Diet Cokes, and yeah, and all that for $30 a year. You can't beat it. So, and it's 10-15 minutes from where we camp. So it's always nice to load up a bunch of stuff and go over to the club and do some shooting. Go in and get some food. So we went over to the club, and I got to take a bunch of toys that I've accumulated over the last month and a half since I've been able to get to the range. I got my suppressor, and got the night vision scope, and got the 6.5 Grendel all done, and got to try out the new hearing protection, my Axle in the ear buds. I'm very happy with these for the price. You can catch them for $139-ish on sale. I think I've even seen once in a while an ad for $99 on these, and that's what I paid, was the $99. Great set of. I wear them riding a bike. Now, I will say this: I figured out pretty quickly that. And it doesn't say in the instructions anywhere. Otherwise, I would have realized it. When you're using the Bluetooth, the noise reduction, the noise canceling doesn't work. Okay, so I guess the reasoning, hi Russ, the reasoning there is that, like me, I'm riding a motorcycle and I'm listening to music. They want you to be able to hear what's going on around you as well. You don't want to cancel out the noise around you. So if you're using the Bluetooth, you're not getting noise canceling. The first round I racked off was like, hey, that didn't work. It was pretty loud. So I realized then that I have to turn the Bluetooth off and just use the noise canceling, and then they worked perfectly, which makes sense, right? You know, if I'm using these in a situation where I'm listening to music and I also want to be able to hear what's going on around me or hear someone yell at me for safety's sake, then yeah, I do read instructions once in a while. That's my wife. So, you know, I figured out pretty quickly I had to turn the Bluetooth off, and then they worked perfectly after that. Next time I get out with these, I am going to try some of the different, you know, this thing comes with like, what, 3, 6, 7, 8 sets of different in-the-ear configurations, square, round, these silicones. I'm going to try some of the other ones and see if they seal off a little bit better. These did the job, but I think some of the square or round foam might seal off my ear a little bit better. So we'll do some more experimenting with those and see what we think of some of the different in-the-ear attachments that come with those. Got to shoot the suppressor finally, and if I know there's a video floating around out there, I don't know if it's made it on yet, but very impressed with the Dead Air Nomad 30 silencer. You know, I hooked it up to the 5.56. I did a quick couple of shots without it, and then I put the can on and let her rip. Man, what a improvement! The noise reduction was incredible. My 5.56 sounded like a 22. I could have shot it easily without hearing protection, I think. I didn't try, but I probably could have. That's something I'll probably do next time, just to see, you know, is it really ear safe? They say it is. Well, we'll find out. But yeah, it was a pretty dramatic reduction in noise, and you'll see that when you watch the video. You know, the loud concussive boom wasn't there. The crack was there, but the loud concussive boom that you get wasn't there. I'm very happy with the performance of that. I'm going to try it out on a few other guns and see what we think. I got to get a 300 blackout built and try it with some subsonics to be really quiet. So then the next thing we did was we got out the 6.5 and drew the first rounds through it for testing for cycle. And if you saw the preview video, you'll see that it did not cycle at all. Well, I shouldn't say at all. It ejected a round, but it would not pick up the next round, and it would not hold open on the last round. When the magazine was empty, it closed. So that tells me that, you know, two things. I'm either extremely overgassed and everything is happening too fast, or I'm undergassed. And the pattern of the shells throwing out at 330-ish, somewhere in there, was telling me that I wasn't overgassed. I didn't have an extreme overgassing problem. It was telling me that I was undergassed. So, you know, this is a factory barrel, and, you know, not an adjustable. It was a straight gas block. So I was pretty confident in my bore alignment, or in my gas tube, gas block alignment. So I wasn't super concerned that that was an issue, but I'm going to check it anyway. You know, I wasn't shooting the can, Russ, for accuracy. I was just shooting it to check it out. But that is one of the things, next time I take it out, I'm going to check with a gun that's sighted in and see how much of a point of impact change I get putting the can on. I expect there's going to be some. But I wasn't too concerned with the gas block being out of alignment. So I contacted my buddy Andy Hobein at Grendel Hunter. And Andy, in my eyes, is the guru of all things 6.5 Grendel. That's all he does, right? He is very exclusive in his manufacturing, and he builds 6.5 Grendels exclusively. So I'm pretty confident in his expertise, and he's been doing it a long time. So now I didn't have the suppressor on this when I shot it. I would expect it to have performed fine with the can, but I want it to perform without the can and with the can. So I contacted Andy, and he gave me a couple things to look at. He said, check gas alignment, make sure your gas is aligned properly. Check the port size against what the barrel is spec'd at. And now he told me he feels that Hornady has changed the formula on their ammunition, their Hornady Black, specifically the 123 grain, because he has over the last year seen some issues where guns that cycled fine were not cycling with Hornady Black 123s anymore. And it was doing the same thing that was happening to me, where it was just barely missing and not picking up the last round. So he suggested that if I wanted to continue to use Hornady Black, which is a great ammunition. I love Hornady Black for hunting. I use it in several guns, my 350, my 450, and I wanted to be able to use it in the 6.5 just because I like the way the ammunition performs, the ballistic tip, the expansion, the way it performs on harvesting animals is, in my mind, it's excellent. So I wanted to kind of stick with that if I could. He suggested that maybe I need to open the gas port. So we've got all the stuff here to do that if we feel like that's what we need to do. But I'm going to kind of dive into this thing real quick and see if go through a couple of diagnostics and see what we see. And then, so the first thing we got to do is get the muzzle device off. Pull our shims off. Set that aside. And then we're going to pull our hand guard. And this is our Cornerstone Series hand guard. So there's 3 bolts here that I got to loosen up. I don't have to take them completely out because there is no retention system with this hand guard. It's just strictly a clamp on. Okay, and I'm going to set that off to the side. Now, I'm going to get out my bore scope. This has an app that I download to my phone. Most of them do. And as soon as I plug it in, the app opens automatically. So what I'm going to do with this is check my gas block alignment, which I feel fairly confident is fine, but we're going to check it anyway. Okay. And there you can see right, you have, I don't know if you can kind of see, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to set this down right here. I'm going to insert. Now it is lighted, and you can dial the light on this up and down if you don't want it super bright, or if you want to shut it off completely, you can shut the light off completely. But that's done by this little dial right here. And we're going to turn the light up. We're going to stick it in the barrel, and we're going to have a look until we find, oh, there's our gas port. And I'll set this here All right, you can see I'm moving the phone and I need to be moving. It's kind of awkward. Okay, there we go. I got it now. Yeah, you hold that because I want to move the phone to, right, and there's my gas port. And what I'm looking for is to be able to look up in that hole and see the hole on the gas block. And you can see, if the camera allows you to see that I have pretty much perfect alignment there. There's a hole inside the hole. And that's what you want to see, is that gas block hole completely inside of that port hole. Okay? So that tells me my gas block is, alignment is good. Rifle length gas, yes. 18-inch barrel, rifle length gas system. So we will put this thing away since we're done with it. We've proven that our gas alignment, gas block alignment is correct. No, I haven't done the review on the scope yet. Thank you for reminding me of that. Haven't fully dove into it yet. I plan on doing that some more, especially that I haven't really dove into the night vision aspects of it yet. But I did do some sighting in with it out at the range, so we will talk about that. All right, so we got to get the gas block off. Okay, so the other thing you can check here is that by shooting this, you've left a carbon ring around the port, from the port in here being bigger than this. So you leave a carbon ring around there. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick that up or not, but you can see there's a little, yeah, it's a little hard to see on the camera, but there's a light carbon ring around there, and the carbon ring goes completely around, so that tells me that this is completely over top of that. Okay, so that's another way I know that my gas block alignment is good. So we spec this out. The spec is 93 thousandths. So you can see the 93 pin goes in, 95 pin doesn't. Okay, so that tells me that my gas port is the size it's supposed to be. Now, I could try some different ammunition, maybe some Barnes or something like that, and see if I get the cycling that I desire, knowing that I want to shoot Hornady Black, and taking Andy's advice. Andy said what he would do if it were him, he would open this port 4 or 5 thousandths and give it the gas that it needs to make it function properly, and then put the can on, get it to function without the can, make sure that, you know, that 4 or 5 thousandths that we're going to open this up gives us the desire that we need without the can, then put the can on and see if we don't have an overgassing issue. Now, if it performs well with both, then I've found the sweet spot. If I've gotten an overgassing issue with the back pressure from the can, then I'm going to want to go to an adjustable gas block and dial it back down. So sometimes you can find a sweet spot where, you know, both of them are going to work. Sometimes you can find a sweet spot with an adjustable gas block where you can shoot suppressed and unsuppressed. More often than not, though, I've seen where guys have they know When I unsuppress it, I got to take a quarter turn out of the gas block, or if I would quarter turn it, whatever it might be, you got to know, you got to play with it and say, okay, unsuppressed, it shoots here, suppressed, it shoots there, and know that, you got to make those adjustments when you're going to want to suppress or unsuppress your gun. So, I got a little drill here, okay, and we're going to open this up a few thou. Now, you don't use carbide to do this. I would use high-speed steel. Carbide's brittle, and if it snaps off in there, you're gonna have other problems. Okay, high-speed steel is way more forgiving. Okay, and then also set your drill. You want a variable speed drill because you don't want this thing, especially you don't want it winding out like that, right? You want to go nice and slow, and you want to be able to make this thing operate. Right, so you want one of these drills that just by pulling the trigger a little bit, it just barely runs. Okay? And we're going to put just a little dab of lubricant on there. Yeah, you can. If you have one that's the right size. This is an 096 drill. So I'm going from 093 to 096. I'm opening it up 3 thou. Okay. You can see I got a couple little metal chips there, right? You don't want to send them back that way. You always want to knock them out in the front of the barrel. You don't want any metal chips going back into your action. Now, both pins now should go, and they do. Okay, so we've opened up our barrel 3 to 4 thousandths there. Okay, it's that simple. That's how you open up a gas port. Now, obviously, we don't have a range here. Otherwise, I would go shoot it and make sure that it does what it needs to do. But what I'm going to do is... Oh, and the other thing that Andy recommended, and we're going to do real quick, is a little blue Loctite. Okay? So, make sure everything's good and clean here. Alright, and you put just a little Loctite inside here. It don't take much, right? You can see some of it came off of there, kind of a tight fit there. There's only a thou or two slip fit. We'll drop a little drop in there. Let it work its way around and kind of ooze in underneath the seal. And we'll do the same thing here. And we'll let that ooze underneath the seal, work it around. Chamfer the outside diameter of the hole. Yeah, I probably should have. I'm fairly confident that I got it pretty flat. Otherwise, the gas block wouldn't have gone on here. But you can, yeah, take a little chamfer tool and chamfer the outside of the hole. That's why you want to go nice and slow so you don't create big burrs. Okay, so we got some blue Loctite in there to help seal that. Now carbon will eventually do that job for you. You'll get it will seal off just from the carbon buildup of shooting it after a little while. So I got some little indents in there that I made when I first snugged this down, and I just got it to go back into those indents. Okay. Now, before we're going to shoot this again, we're going to give that Loctite a little time to set up. Loctite works in the absence of oxygen, so by filling that area, you deprive it of oxygen, and it gives it a chance to set up. So you want to give it a day or two to set up before you shoot that. Otherwise, you'll probably just, if there is any leakage, you're going to blow it right back out of there. Now, the one other thing he did tell me to check, and I'm going to go ahead and check real quick just to make sure. I don't think there's an issue with it, but we are going to pop the gun in half. And we're going to pull the bolt carrier group out. And what I'm looking for is any kind of damage to the key around the lip of the key here that could be causing me to lose pressure against the gas tube. Now, I checked the gas tube. When I pulled it out, the gas tube didn't have any damage around the lip there. What I'm looking for is any kind of dinging, denting, malformation of the gas key here that could cause gas to escape out around there, thereby not giving me the full pressure that I need to make the gun cycle properly. But everything looks good there. I don't see anything that alarms me. No, that little bit of Loctite isn't going to plug that 100 thousandths hole. And again, Loctite works in the absence of oxygen. If there was Loctite in the hole, it's not going to set up because there's oxygen able to get to it. Loctite only works in the absence of oxygen, only sets up in the absence of oxygen. And carbon leaks under the gas key, right? I didn't see anything that alarmed me there. So, like I said, if I had a range here, we could go out and shoot it. But we're kind of in the city here. I keep dropping hints. We were down at a show a couple years ago, and in Texas, and they had brought in a semi-trailer, a full-length semi-trailer, and they had it lined with half-inch plate steel, completely lined, front to rear, back, front, the whole 9 yards. And they had at the back of it, they had a slope plate down into a pellet trap, sand trap, whatever you want to call it, and they were taking guys in there, and they were shooting pistols inside of the exhibit hall, inside of a semi-trailer. And, you know, we were set up, we couldn't have been 40, 50 yards from it. And, you know, if you listened really close, you could hear, especially like when they were shooting the 45s and stuff, you could hear it popping in there a little bit. But, man, it was pretty trick system. Okay. Yeah, that's the whole thing with Loctite. Uh-oh, what happened here?
You gotta just come over here somewhere. You got it in the corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Loctite is designed to work in the absence of oxygen. So that's why it works in, threads, because when you've, screwed down in there, oxygen can't get in there. And when you seal the area up with Loctite, oxygen really can't get in there. So it gives that an opportunity to set up. Now, I used blue Loctite because it is, even when it's set, it is malleable. If you use red or green, you're going to struggle to get that thing back off of there. you're going to probably have to heat it up to get it back off of there. But with the blue Loctite, it sets up, but it's not rock hard. It doesn't set up rock hard like the green or the red does. Yeah, I'll have Andy buying a semi trailer next. Hey. Yeah, you got one at work inside Cranberry, inside the township limits there. I've seen a lot of guys. We've been to some gun shops where they're within the city limits, and they have the room set up where they have a hole in the wall, and there's a barrel that goes into a barrel, a sand trap barrel, and they're shooting into a sand trap barrel. So, just checking for function, that kind of stuff. But there are ways around it when you live in the city limits. Just got to get creative. Yeah, don't use red. Whatever you do, never use red on your gun unless you never want it to come apart. Yeah, rock set releases with hot water. You can boil the parts and they'll come apart. And heat. You can get red apart if you really work at it slow and heat it up. And we make brass. Okay. You guys, yeah, that's right. You said you worked for ammunition manufacturer, James. I remember that. Did I miss anybody? Miss anything? Nope. Okay. Oh, testing brass cases, shooting. Yeah. Yeah, maybe someday we'll look into something like that. A little sand trap, a barrel trap. You got to make a soundproof room though. It's got to be pretty quiet, otherwise, the neighbors will like, "What's going on over there?" And then they'll be calling the police. Somebody's shooting over there. So yeah, it's got to be a pretty soundproof room. Those ones that, like when we were in Wyndham and they had their testing room, they could close the door and then you couldn't hear it. You're standing right outside the door, you couldn't hear it. Russ is getting some stuff for his Marksman's for Vet program. So, yeah, we've talked about Russ's program before. If you have gently used parts, new parts that you're not using anything, Russ is more than happy to take donations. He does a great thing. I think he's built, he's up in the teens, 20s maybe, that he's built for disabled American veterans, and he presents them. Their buddies nominate him, and he builds them a gun, and then they get presented with, he ships it to an FFL, and sometimes he's able to present them himself, and other times he has the buddy that nominated the guy go to the FFL and present him with the gun. So if you check out Marksman's for Vet, you'll see some videos, and some of them will damn near make you cry. These guys are so appreciative of what their buddies do for them and what Russ does for them. So, if you have parts you're not using, Russ will always take donations for Marksman for Vet. And he's on Facebook. You can check him out. He's on all the social medias. Oh, yeah. So, this is the ATN X-Sight 4K 5x20 day-night scope. So this thing has a ton of features. Ballistic calculator, it does wind, this thing does everything. I haven't really fully got into everything this thing does. I even though this thing was a single shot for me the other day, I did get it sighted in. I just had to manually charge it every time. I'm going to put the muzzle device back on here while I'm talking. And beautiful picture. This thing is like looking through a TV screen. It records video, recoil activated video. So it's always recording, but it's never saving until you shoot. Now you can set it to record manually where it just records, but with recoil activated video, this thing is always recording, okay? But it's never saving until you shoot. And once it senses recoil, it goes back 15 seconds and starts the saving process from there. And then you can set it to record 2, 3, however many minutes after the shot that you want it to record. So you can get that shot on your deer, your hog, or whatever it might be, And you know, which is nice because then you can go back and play it in slow motion, because a lot of times things happen so fast when you're hunting that, you know, you shoot a deer, the deer jumps, it reacts, and boom, it takes off running, and your adrenaline's going, and, you know, everything's the excitement of the moment, and it's like, okay, where did I hit that deer? You know, was that a good shot? Was it a bad shot? Did I pull? What happened? You can go back and watch this thing in slow motion and get a good idea of what happened, right? Where did your bullet impact? What happened? What happened after the shot? How did the deer react? Which way did it run? You can, you know, a lot of times I've shot deer and in the excitement of the moment, and, you know, you're up in a tree stand especially, and you're like, you watch the deer run away, and you get down out of the tree stand and you're like, all right, which way did he go, right? Because everything looks different from the ground versus 20 feet in the air. You know, you can watch the video and pick out a tree and pick out certain features, and you can know, you know, it really is a nice thing to have video of your shot, so you can watch it and figure out what happened. I like the way it's like I said, it's like looking through a TV screen. It tells you, you know, it's got all the widgets on the screen, tells you wind direction, wind speed, it just temperature, your elevation. This thing is so cool. It does so much, it gives you so much information. Sighting in was really easy. You know, I shot my 3 shots, saw where my pattern was, went into this, set the sighting in, and set it up on the tripod and a rest so that my crosshairs were on the target, you know, the bullseye, and then with clicks of the buttons, I moved my sight to where the pattern was, and then hit OK, and then my next pattern was right in the bullseye. It was that simple to sight in. Really a cool system. We're gonna get out and do some night work with this thing and see what. And I got to get a SD card for it so we can record some videos and get some videos of that kind of stuff going on. But, you know, this thing is super cool. It's about a little over $700 scope. It's nowhere near as expensive as thermals, but I do have to say it's, you know, it doesn't perform as well as thermal. Obviously, it doesn't have the range because you're relying on a infrared flashlight to light things up for you. Now, it's a good, you know, you can get bigger flashlights, you can get longer range infrared flashlights and extend your range a little bit, but you're realistically only going to get a few hundred yards out of this thing, where with thermals, you know, you can pick up an animal 400 or 500 yards away because it's sensing the heat, right? And if there's a rabbit out there 200 yards, you're going to see that little white dot that tells you there's something out there that's hot. What brand model? This is the ATN X-Sight 4K 5x20. Yeah. Yeah, they're saying the flashlight's good up to 200. This particular flashlight is good up to 200. They do make, you can buy some bigger ones that could maybe extend your range a little bit. But I mean, realistically, this is you know, for nighttime shooting, it's a couple 100-yard gun. Daytime shooting, it's unlimited, right? The 20 power, man, that thing, it really gets out there. It's digital, so the picture stays the same. Right? You don't have to refocus. Like with a lot of scopes, when you zoom way in, you need to refocus. This thing, once you focus, it's a digital zoom. So it's just bringing that picture in closer. It doesn't come out of focus when it comes in. It's a nice scope. I'm so far very happy with it. But we're going to get out and check the night capabilities of it. Get that on there good and tight, and then so I'm putting this back on there just for storage purposes. I am going to shoot this gun without the suppressor to check and make sure that it cycles properly without it, and then I'll do some testing with it and make sure I'm not overgassed with it. And if I have an overgassing problem, then we'll install a adjustable gas block on this thing, and we'll probably do that on the show as well. Yeah, the Sightmark Wraith is here too. We're going to work with that one too. It doesn't have the functions that this one has, but it is about half the price of this scope as well. But it seems like a pretty good scope. We are going to mount that up to a different gun, and I will do an apples to apples or apples to oranges comparison, because it's not really apples to apples because of the features, but at least for sight picture and distance and sight target acquisition, target recognition, that kind of stuff, we'll compare the two.
Do either of them go to your phone also?
This will, for sure, this is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I can broadcast my video right to my phone. I can send it right to my phone. I don't know if the Sightmark Wraith does that or not. I'd have to look. I think it does, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, that's a super cool feature too. You can Bluetooth right to Facebook. You can do video right to go live on Facebook right through your scope. So Facebook's got to love that, right? Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got a bunch of chickens got killed a few weeks ago, and I want to I got to get out there and get whatever got them. My wife texted me this morning, and she said the dog came back with a chicken leg. Must have found it out in the woods somewhere and came up and deposited it on the deck right in front of the door. I'm bringing you a present. Right? Look what I found for you. So good thing it wasn't my daughter. My daughter would have flipped because those were her chickens. So all right. So that's the suppressor. First impressions of the suppressor. Pretty happy with its performance. First impressions with the daylight stuff on the ATN scope. Pretty happy with that. And hopefully now we have our gas issue resolved here on this 6.5. We'll get back out and shoot this thing and report back if our fix did what it was supposed to do, and if we need to do anything more to make the ammunition work between the two systems, suppressed and unsuppressed. So stay tuned for all that information coming sometime soon as I can get back out to the range. This next August is looking crazy too. So yeah, the Sightmark, I did mess with the Sightmark a little bit at home, just out in the yard, kind of scanning with it at night and checking it out, and it seemed perfectly fine out to 75 yards. I didn't see any issue there. I'll get that one out here in the next week or two and try to do a little bit of work with it and report on both of them. So yeah, because I mean, for the price, $400 and some versus $700 and some. If you're not worried about the one-shot zero and the digital zoom and that kind of stuff, there's some different features obviously that it doesn't have. But if you're just looking for a nighttime scope to plunk some raccoons and coyotes behind the house that are getting after your chickens, then the Sightmark Wraith might be a perfectly good option for you in that price point. So join us next week. I don't know exactly what we'll be talking about yet. Things come up throughout the week that we're like, hey, let's make a show about that. So likely that's what will happen next week. So we appreciate you guys being here. Get out and enjoy the nice weather. It's already August. I mean, come on. You got a month left and the leaves are going to start turning. It's insane. So get out and enjoy the summer while we still got some. We'll see you guys next week. Remember, you don't have to be an expert to build your own AR, to upgrade it or maintain it. We're here to help you do that. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.